Girl, I think you're royalty, and you deserve nothing less than my loyalty. You hold me down, in return you get more of me. That's how it feel when you're someone's priority, babe. Now what you gonna do with that? I know you ain't used to that. I'll show you better, babe. I know you're used to letdowns and heartbreaks.
So once again, it's your hostess with the mostest, Goddess Sierra, and I'm here tonight on Grown Folks Business Live on InnerlightRadio.com, and I'm so happy to have your full attention as we get into our last episode of Is Pornography Ruining Your Relationship? And the crazy thing that I've learned is that it seems to be the first relationship that it ruins is your relationship with yourself. And so any of you tonight who are out there and you think you may be caught in this space, I want you to know that there is help for you. It is a difficult road. Some of you may be laughing and saying, oh, please, a little porn never hurt anyone. But here's the thing. As I started to research, it's a very sinister plan. It's not like you're just, watching sex. What they're doing is they're creating paraphilia in you, which is an emotional disorder defined as having sexually arousing fantasies, urges, and behaviors that are recurrent and more intense over periods of time. Even though this condition is most exclusively diagnosed in men, it's not only specific to men. I believe that women have it for things like shopping and shoes, but they think that is normal behavior because women are trained to do those things. But I know women who have literal orgasms for shoes, and so that's a bit weird to me. But, they talk about men with this. These are the conditions that when they get out of control can have a person really needing intense psychotherapy. Paraphilic behaviors can get you into pedophilia, which is, sexually attracted to young children before puberty. It can get you into exhibitionism, which is your excitement by exposing your own genitals in public. It can get you into voyeurism, and that's peeping around people's houses. And here's the thing. As I looked up all the researches on this, it is so amazing that the condition that they're out here treating is the very same condition that they're promoting through the use of pornography. So once again, you know how I am about the whole setups and being awake. I think it's very strange that you have an industry that's up that is promoting the very things that you have a psychiatrist saying is a problem. That seems really willy-nilly for the entire world. Sexual masochism, which is the sexual excitement from being the recipient of threat or being given actual pain. And then you have sadism, which is the excitement from being threatened or also given pain. They look a little different. They sound close, but they're a little bit different. And then you have transvestite fetishism, which is the sexual excitement of wearing the clothing of the opposite sex. So men dressed as women. I saw that a lot as I was going through the research, men that had on garter belts and women's underwear. And that was a bit peculiar for me, but it arouses them. And frotteurism, which is the sexual excitement from touching or fondling an unsuspecting person, which happens a lot on the subway trains in New York. And so watching this type of I don't even know if to call it entertainment, because it's really destroying people's lives as I've gone through my interviews this week. And the thing about talking on Grown Folks Business is we never want to talk to you to judge you. We just want to get a clear understanding, because I think a lot of things turn into devastational aspects of living because we like to hide a lot of things. So here at Grown Folks Business, we just like to open up the platform for a conversation. So if you're running around in women's underwear and you're a man, I'm not going to judge you, but I would like you to call in at 310-928-7733 and tell me about your experience running around in women's underwear. ladies, unfortunately, it's billed as normal when we wear. They even sell a type of underwear called boy shorts, and girls love them. I don't wear them because I'm not a boy, and I don't like the title boy shorts, and I'm a woman. That energy around that whole campaign doesn't sit well with me. A lot of young ladies that I know wear them, their sexual energy is extremely masculine. I'm not saying that for every woman if you wear boy shorts. And here's the thing. Some women think that they're feminine because they're pretty. That isn't true. Your energetic space can be very, very masculine. And so, you want to be careful to guard your sensuality and your sexuality, because there's like a predatory pathology out in this multiverse that is coming for you 100-fold. And so, as I went through the list of pornography, the categories, which, like I said, I really couldn't watch the movies because it's so degrading. And I thought to myself, what kind of space do you have to be in to look at this? To see what is happening to women, I really don't see how women sign up for it. A gentleman wrote me and told me about a website called Ghetto Gaggers, and I was barely able to go to the site and maintain my composure because I wanted to cry, because there were a lot of Caucasian men and a lot of Caucasian men. I can't even call it abusing because the women signed up for it, but it looked very abusive towards women of color, mulattoes, as they said. They had these very despicable titles. And the sad part was the white women that they had, the few that they had on there, they looked like meth addicts. They didn't look very clean. They didn't look very healthy. But the women of color that they had, for some reason, they all had this same appearance. They were downtrodden. Their hair was nappy. They looked like trash. They were giggling and laughing. Just really used up young ladies. And I thought, this is terrible. What is going on here? And they were all there with seminal fluid on their face from these men. And they were talked to. So the man asked the lady in one of the promos, because I'm telling you, this stuff is too horrific to look at, but they flash these promos to try to get you to watch. And he asked the young lady, what brings you to porn? And she said, I love, and he just slapped her face. And he said, don't tell me that you love sex, and don't tell me that you love money, you whore. You're just here because the only money that you can make is from having sex. And I just thought to myself, what kind of women do this? And so some of the titles were Black Ghetto Trash, Getting Her Face Ruined by White Man. Black Chick Getting Her Anal, you know what, by Two Gringos. Black Slut Takes White So-and-so. And it was really just outrageous to look at the women that placed themselves in this position. And I thought to myself, what in the world could possess a woman to turn herself into like the lowest space on earth? I mean, when you see their faces, when you see it, it almost looks like it should be criminal. Fat black slut. I mean, this is what you're signing up for, women. This is what you're allowing your image to be put onto for the rest of your life, all over the internet, for some money. Skinny B, skinny back black B, gets her face up. Fat black slut. All of these things, and it was it's a very popular site. Then you go to other sites like xvideos.com, and that's where I found this doll baby situation. And I was quite puzzled because I thought to myself, doll babies, but there's actual doll babies that they have now. Not, caller, can you please mute your phone, please? You're live. I'll be with you in 1 second. And so we have these people that are literally here having intercourse with inanimate objects because paraphilia has triggered them in a way that they have stepped out of the relationship with a woman, with the natural woman, and they're now into relationships with dolls, with AIs. There's an entire whorehouse, as they call them, in Asia for artificial intelligence sex dolls. Men go in and they pay to choose these dolls. I found this very peculiar, but they're not really promoting that for their country. They're promoting that for the American tourists and the foreign tourists, the European tourists that are coming over. So I have a caller at area code 254-319. You're live with Grown Folks Business.
What's up?
What's up?
I got a lot of noise in the background, so I ain't gonna be able to talk.
Okay, are you just listening in with me tonight?
Yes, sir.
I'm a ma'am, so.
I say, yes, ma'am, got it.
Okay, there you go. I love it. I wish I could hear him tell me all the ups and downs about porn because he's a man, but he does have a lot of background noise. So, sweetheart, if you can go ahead and place your phone on mute, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. The other caller hung up. So, I love that you all call in to listen, but I really want you to talk because I stay off of men. Outside of giving the research, I really want a man to talk about what's going on with men and women to talk about what's going on with women. There's also this weird energy that comes with women when you talk about certain subjects when you know they're not really being truthful. A lot of women that I interviewed was like, oh my God, absolutely not. I don't look at porn, but they couldn't look at me in the face when we're having the conversation. And it's, goddesses, if this is something that you do, we want to know about it because I want to know, even psychologically, how it makes a woman feel. The thing with me was, as the researcher, I was mortified. I was disgusted. I did not understand how anyone could look at this and be aroused by it. I understand the brain centers and how they work. But the things that this industry is getting you to do, effed up family. Basically, they want you to look at titles that say mother having sex with son, father having sex with son, father having sex with daughter, stepdaughter. These are things that are taking you into a very disgusting space mentally. Then they give you different people around the world, from Muslim to Latina to interracial. They even give you mature. And I was very shocked to find out that elderly people were being filmed having intercourse. It made my mouth water to the point of near vomiting because I thought, are these elderly people being taken advantage of, or are they really doing this? And then I looked to see how much money you can make, and it said up to $5,000 a month. Now, this is sad that you can sell your body for such an exuberant amount of money, but you can bust your tail for 40 hours a week on your 9 to 5 and not even clear $2,500 for the month. So I really do understand why people are doing it. Also, they have, the she-male, the squirting. They've gotten so ridiculous now with trying to induce the paraphilia that they're even using lingams that are artificial and filling them with a yogurt type of substance to make a synthetic type of seminal fluid and spraying entire rooms with this substance. And I'm thinking to myself, now, nobody can be excited by this. This is absolute foolery, but they have thought of the most obsessive things to show you, because when you're in full-on addiction, and Dr. A talked about this last week, and he's actually going to try to call in tonight for us to talk a little bit more, but when they get you enthralled into this addiction, your dopamine receptor shuts down to try to save your life. And so what happens is you need more and more and more emotional stimulation to get aroused. This is where the flaccidity comes in, gentlemen and ladies. This is what happens when you seek clitoral stimulation and you step outside of the yoni orgasm, which is intravaginal. And so you get with a man and you're laying there. I talked with a gentleman the other day and I said, you and his wife and he are not intimate, and maybe, but once every 3 months, he's also a traveling man. And so he talked about the energy, how they don't kiss anymore. They don't. And I'm thinking to myself, this is happening in so many households. Number one, you all have the television in your bedroom. No, get that energy out of your bed chamber. The bedroom, that's where your bed is. That is for resting and making love and making children. That's what that's for. Enjoying yourself, having passionate lovemaking, having intense sexual exchanges, going through your sacred energy exchange, making your money, whatever. But it is not for turning on that succubus of a machine to program you into losing your relationship. When we are more engrossed into what Hollywood is doing in their relationships, we're ready to look at contrived relationships, all of the reality shows. These folks will get you to marry people for ratings and all this type of fake husbands, fake wives, fake houses. And even though we know that it's rigged, we have to ask ourselves, what's going on in the brain that's causing us to desire to see this? It's starting to get into compulsive behaviors. You also have non-paraphilic behaviors. And when these are taken to the extreme, they're recurrent, they're distressing, and they interfere with your daily functioning. And it's that's compulsive masturbation, compulsive love relations, compulsive sexuality in a relationship, or desire and a fixation on an unattainable partner. That's non-paraphilic behaviors. So ladies, when you keep looking at, Jerome or Scott or Steve, and he is not thinking about you, you are in non-paraphilic CSB. This is your issue. And that can turn into paraphilic behavior. That's where you start, sneaking outside of his window, combat rolling on his job, putting tracking devices on his car, all these type of things on someone who doesn't want you. And they're programming you. They do it through the beats on music. They do it through videos. They do it through advertising campaigns. If you all remember when Herbal Essence came out, they had a campaign where a woman was shampooing her hair and having an orgasm. Now, ladies, we know that there is not a shampoo in the world that does that. But for some reason, the shampoo was flying off the shelves. And I remember thinking, are people this peculiar that they are buying shampoo because they think that they're going to orgasm? I was a young woman when Herbal Essence campaign came out, but I had more sense than that. Your cologne ads. Why are your cologne ads filled with sexual images, as if you smell a man? But listen, I'm not even gonna lie, some of these brothers smell so good they make you want to have one of those commercials with them. Absolutely. But it's as if to say you smell a man and all of your clothes fall off. Jador, you don't know whether you're watching a commercial or whether you're watching soft porn. I went out this week and I talked with a lady at Barnes and Noble. She actually works there. And she told me that a book was flying off the shelves, and that book is called Milk and Honey. And I said, okay. And she said, it's flying off the shelves for children. Parents are buying it, but it's pornography. Here's the thing, parents. It's very subtle. It's got a blank title. It just says Milk and Honey. It's a black book with like white writing. Doesn't look like anything. I said, can you show it to me, please? She took me to the book. I opened up to one page and I shut it. Things like that don't excite me and don't turn me on, and I just don't behold it on my eyes. But I quickly saw that it was basically written pornography to utilize your imagination, to turn on those dopamine receptors. But here's the thing. Parents are buying it for their children. Why? Because the children know what's going on and parents, we don't. And so you think because your kid wants a book from Barnes and Nobles that it's a great book, and you run in there and you buy it, and you have no idea that you just purchased pornography for your child. We have a caller, area code 323-450. You're live on Grown Folks Business.
Hey, this is Daryl Mooney. How you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Awesome. I'm glad to have a king with me tonight. So,
absolutely.
what do you want to tell me about? Have you experienced pornography?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
did you notice any
Now,
physical change to your body?
no, not at all. Now, being a Tantra teacher, instructor, and practitioner, that's sacred sexuality,
Yes.
any form of porn can be usable. It depends upon your mindset. Now, what you want to do, there's different kinds of porn. There's hardcore porn. There's also softcore porn. That's from a woman's perspective.
Allegedly.
Most porn, huh?
Allegedly, right?
No, I know that's for real. I've seen them. You have
No,
very.
no. What I'm saying, allegedly, from a woman's perspective. That's a man producing a movie believing it's from a woman's perspective. I've seen
No. You have women. No. You got to do your research.
I have done my research.
Who are producing pornography.
Yes, they're women producing now. It's a moneymaker. But here's the thing. I've seen the soft porn. As a woman, it does nothing for me. So that's why I said allegedly. For other women, that may be great. I'm just not into pornography at all.
That's white women. That's white women. White women. That got nothing to do with you. Come on now.
That's the way Cinemax was when we were growing up at 10 o'clock. When your parents went to bed, Cinemax was playing soft porn, if anybody remembers that. But I'm telling my age right now.
You ever seen Brazilian porn?
Yes, I have.
But very, very feminine. Very feminine. But anyway, pornography it has a whole is a negative, but you do find, because I was on years ago, 15 years ago, I was a pornographic research. I had Asian porn, Brazilian porn, African porn, European porn, I had all soft porn, black porn, all kind of porn.
So you were a pornography connoisseur.
Yeah, I was like a connoisseur. I was looking for people are looking for transcendence through that. They don't know it. They're looking to transcend and go to another level, but what they do, most pornography keeps you in the lower chakras.
Absolutely.
And it cannot raise the vibration up into your upper chakras. But there is an intensity and there is a lower chakra excitement about it. It just doesn't go to the next level. Now you have tantric porn. Okay, if you go on, I'm talking about where you have sacred sexuality in a pornographic sense.
Right.
And all you got to do is research it on Google and look for tantric porn, where they're moving the energy through the kundalini. They're moving the energy into the high centers. And the sexuality is on another level. So there's nothing wrong with watching naked bodies making love. It's just that what is the intention and what is the POV of the practitioners themselves. So,
I can respect what you're saying. Here's the thing. As a tantrika, as a daikini, I have no desire to watch other people have intimacies. I respect the sacred space of that. I know that there are people who are all into orgies and 3 ways and 8 ways and 20 ways, and that's great for those people. My point of view is I don't want to see anyone doing anything that is sacred. That I don't want to behold that, and I don't want anyone looking at me.
You educate yourself through your own cellular memory. What's going on with?
That isn't an education for me. It could be an education for some people. I educate myself in a different manner. It isn't an education for me. Now, I can tell you, I saw pornography when I was younger, and what it has turned into now is nothing that I ever beheld. The level of violence, disgust, and disturbing imagery that the younger generation will be fortunate to behold is something that is very shocking to me. And I am showing my age. I don't want to look at any of that. It's vile and really perverse and disgusting for my personal taste. For anyone else who's loving it, great for them. But I wish a man would slap my face and stick his lingam in my mouth. I can tell you now, we're going to need 2 different cars to show up, an ambulance and a police car. And I can promise you I'm going into the police car. And he will be transported.
The young people today are insensitive.
Yes.
They're feeling anything they need intensity on every level. The drugs is different. The dancing is different. The music is different. Everything is different with them. What's hard for you, for them, it's just every day. They doing stuff that we would never have
done. Lord Jesus.
But that's where it goes. See, listen to you, Lord Jesus. You sound like the old folks.
Listen, I'm telling you, the things I witnessed in this research, brother, they made me physically sick. I threw up. I mean, I just don't really. And here's the thing. I'm glad you called in. I love other point of views. I try to get people to talk about it because for me, I even as high in sensuality and sacred sexuality as I am, I think I might be a bit of a prude because I was disgusted, and I'm in full Scorpion light and Scorpio energy. I'm in a phenomenal lover, but I don't get attracted to.
Put it on camera,
I'm a phenomenal lover. I won't even hesitate to say it. I'm amazing. I'm taking paychecks over here.
I'll buy your first video. Put it on camera.
Listen, I'm not putting anything on video. That's the thing. And for any of you brothers that got some of them old tapes, I'm not running for Congress, so I don't care. Back in the day when I didn't know my worth, sister was on tape, but I'm not on tape anymore because I understand the sacred sexuality of it all. And
I'm a phenomenal lover. Listen to you.
Listen, I'm phenomenal. I'm well trained. I know, but there's just some things as a goddess that I'm not going to do and I don't have to do. And if you could tell me, because now that I have you on the phone, I want to pick your brain a little bit, and it may be gross for you, but what I was talking about earlier, I'm talking about the sensory reception, everything. I hope people get that. Your point of view is that pornography can be a teaching tool. However gross and disgusting that person wants to get into it, it's just really for me the things I saw. But what is it about the level of mess and disgust that seems to be a huge component right now in pornography? So, as I was saying, the bukkake, the seminal play, and the gagging and choking of women, the face slapping, this has gone well beyond just traditional pornography. This has gone into paraphilic behavior.
It's a lack, like I say, it's a lack of sensitivity that's going on in the industry and it's a reflection of America.
Yes.
It's a reflection. Pornography is just a reflection of the people. It sells because that's what the people want. So you have to say, why are people getting off on this? Why are they? It's just like you can be a male or female. You can be making love, and either one of them can have so many blockages, so many physical and emotional blocks that they need slapping and they need all this kind of stuff just to wake up to some kind of sensitivity that has been deadened.
Absolutely.
So you have to learn how to open up the senses and release those emotional blockages, and then you can become orgasmic just by touch.
That's true. See, he's talking my language now. That's true.
10 years from now, you're going to see pornography where they're going to have to hit somebody outside the head with a baseball bat before they make love.
Listen, they're going to be out here making love to zombies and biting necks. I'm telling you, it was some of the things I saw were extremely disturbing, especially taking non-consenting animals and having your way. This is just, and here's the thing, it's a lack of sensitivity, but I also wonder, who raised you people? Because some of the things I saw were so peculiar, especially this new thing with the dolls. So being a porn connoisseur, what would you say that your treatment of a woman consists of? How are you with
I'm sorry, I'm not even into it anymore. It's like I did my study of it. I went through that whole piece, and that was over 10 years ago.
And you didn't feel that your relationships were impacted?
No, because I was always taking what was needed, taking what was useful if I could find anything. And in certain pornography I could, and then I would take what is useful and then transmute the energy and take it to another level.
Right. So you were working more in that's more like metaphysical, learning. It wasn't like you were just one of these guys. I tell you, I had a gentleman one time that wanted to date me, and he had a very good job. He was a chief of police, and he was a very upstanding brother. And when he took me to his house for the first time, I was stepping over all of these VHS tapes. Yes, people, VHS tapes. This brother needed DVDs. They were stacked from the floor to the ceiling. And I thought to myself, are these like police surveillance? What's going on? And he was like,
you said he was a who?
He was a chief of police.
Do you know the biggest police, most police end up marrying prostitutes?
Well, I can tell you what, this brother had a appetite. And this was the thing. He wanted, when we were dating, I found out because we never had intercourse. Brother was completely flaccid from self-manipulation. He said, I just need you because you're beautiful to stand out here and get your picture taken. And, I'm going to take care of you for now. He had no desire to touch me. And I thought to myself, yeah, bruh, actually, when I get married, I'm going to actually want to be touched. And he just basically wanted me to stand up and be the token woman. And I thought to myself, what is the problem here? And I told him, I'm not going to be the right girl for that. No, thanks. And he thought because he had a lot of money that would be a great life for me, because I was young at that time. I think I was maybe 22 and he was about 35. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he had, he just like how you talked about for me, he had a whole section of Japanese. He had Brazilian. He had everything. And so there was this movie, Brazilian Bubble Butts or something. And he would sit there in this chair and he would just watch tape after tape for hours. And I would just be sitting in the bedroom wondering when he was going to, I didn't know what he was going to do. This brother never touched me. He had a flaccid frank, he just sat in his hand and rubbed on his lingam until that drizzle came out after watching probably 5 and 6 hours of pornography. And I just thought,
That's cop psychosis. I was with a policewoman. I was with a policewoman. She was a big old freak. This was over 10 years ago. Big freak. See, but when she would put the handcuffs on, there'd be some real handcuffs.
Yeah. Right. And so it tends to be, there are certain attributes, if you even look up at people who choose these types of jobs, to be police officer, there are certain attributes, yes, that you have to have in order to do that type of work. And these people are more prone to being drugged into kind of that underworld type of behavior, that 12th house energy, that just happens to be there for some people, that shadow side.
They see it all the time.
Right.
They see it all the time.
They see it all the time. You're right. And that's what I was saying earlier, that you kind of become what you behold. When I was doing this research, it was very difficult for me because some stuff I really wanted to go, what in the daylights is that? But I took my eyes off of it quickly because it was just degrading. And so the thing is, it makes you almost want to investigate it. Like, hey, what's going to be the end result of this? But I really couldn't put my eyes to it because I didn't want any dopamine to start to flow. I didn't want any melatonin, any serotonin, any of my adrenaline to flow. I didn't want even my cortisol, my stress hormone to flow. You understand? But I became very stressed out because
Was you scared that freak was gonna jump out of you?
No,
What's up?
listen, I would never be a freak to this capacity. I really just didn't understand what was going on with black women. I grew up watching mostly, the only woman of color was Vanessa Del Rio when I was growing up. And yes, right. And Vanessa, she was like an icon. She wasn't seen as a whore or any, it was like they had her in songs. She got all Vanessa Del Rio on me, all that, they loved Vanessa. She was the only woman of color that I ever saw in pornography until I became an adult. But when I was younger, I saw Vanessa Del Rio. And here's the thing, as a young girl, although I shouldn't have been being shown pornography, when I saw it, it really just did nothing for me. I really didn't understand what was happening, but I understood when someone then tried it on me. I was like, oh, this was supposed to get me into the ideology of that. And so this is what I'm talking about, people. So now, because of paraphilia and what they're producing, you can have your boyfriend showing your daughter pornography so that he can break her in. So, this brother has come on talking about the positive effects, and I started out talking about the negative effects because that's all I saw in my research. I saw the soft porn, and he's right. It just kind of made me go, God, I would fall asleep on a man if he was doing that with me, because I think that ethnic lovemaking has a little bit more vigor to it. We say certain things and we do certain things when it's good. You would almost think we were fighting when it feels good, but we're not. We're in there exchanging that energy.
Well, that's a whole level. It depends upon how many. Again, it goes back to how many blockages you have, because a lot of all that movement and a lot of all that intensity is because of you breaking down blocks, and intensity. But when you go to a certain level, I mean, you can just be, as well as I know in Texas, you can be still.
Oh, yes.
Still inside the ring of inside, and have tremendous explosive orgasmic, multi-orgasm going on and on and on, but it's more of an internal thing. But those blocks have been broken down, and the energy of the exchange of the yin and yang energy and the feminine and masculine just going back and forth, and spiraling up and around and inside and outside. And that's what they are most are afraid to even get to that level, because if they go to that level, some people will just start crying. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
because
absolutely. I've done that. I can honestly say my first experience, and this was a weird thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because many women and many women of color that I talk to are very sexually blocked. They have a lot of blockages, and I was one of those women as well. And I really didn't understand, because I endured molestation, I endured rape. And so when I started having my own sexual experiences, I would have this situation where I would reach this peak with my boyfriend at the time, and I would just bust out crying. I never knew what was wrong with me, but I'm going to tell you, he was completely turned off by it. He did not know that I needed comfort or anything. He would just be like, Jesus, it made me feel very, very ashamed, and also extremely insecure about myself as a woman. And that's why teaching is so important. And one of the reasons why I don't like pornography as a woman is because it teaches men to be a little bit crude, rude, and vile to women. And so here I am reaching that space.
At that point, I would love that. I would have just turned them tears into ecstatic joy.
I was crying because I was blocked. I wasn't having orgasm. I had my first orgasm at 32. You know what I'm saying? And I thought I had to urinate, ladies. I was like, wait a minute. I got to pee. I jumped up. I ran to the bathroom, and I was just shaking, and I didn't know what it was. I ran back to the bed. I guess I don't have to pee. I ran back again, ran back. My husband was like, what in the world is wrong with her? I had no idea what was coming. And then when the orgasm came, it came with a boatload of tears. I was mortified. I was embarrassed. I didn't know what was wrong, and I didn't find out until I was 44 what that was all about. Actually 42, as I started down my walk as a tantrika and into
I got a question for you.
Yes, my love.
I got a question for you, Miss Dakini.
He's going to question the host. Question me, bro.
I got a question for you, because you gave me two or three bouts of tears at different times.
Oh yeah,
right?
There were tears.
Okay, now that you are at another level, when was the last time you cried having a sexual experience?
Gosh, I can honestly say that I can do that at any point in time, because I recognize.
How does it feel now? What kind of tears are those now?
Now it's a beautiful space. It's the awakening space.
Hello.
You and Creator.
Hello.
And so it is a beautiful space. During that time, there was, the ego was falling apart during that time. The ego was like, wait a minute, collect your vulnerability. Don't let this man see you. What's going on here? And there was this scraping. Now, listen, I love being a delicate lotus flower. Pick me up, comfort me, fold me up and put me in your pocket. I love it because, ladies, as I tell you, the most beautiful space in femininity is vulnerability. That vulnerability will make you want to submit to a king. Submission is not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's the power of femininity if you understand what submission is. You see what I'm saying? But many of us don't understand what it is. Exactly. A man has to be able to handle it and not allow his ego to see it as control. But ladies, I'm telling you, if you can get your man, I try to tell people, just take that TV out of your room just for tonight. See, you think that it's off when it's plugged up. It's not off. That thing has a frequency and it's putting you into depression. It's programming you. It's here. I met a man who was responsible for Viacom. He said, we came up with media, but it's really an acronym. I said, what? He says, MEDIA. I said, well, what was it for? He said, the multi-ethnic distribution of ignorance in America. MEDIA. He said, we understand that if we take any culture and bring them to America and set them in front of the television for 6 months, we understand that we can get them into complete ignorance. Complete ignorance. And so you have to understand that this television is taking you out of your love life. It got you watching false characters' love lives. They got you watching false characters' intimacy and false characters' sex lives. And they've got you heavily, heavily engulfed into what is diagnosed as a personality disorder. So you literally have an industry here that is promoting mental disability, mental dysfunction. You have this industry that is taking billions. This is not $1 million. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And it is giving you mental issues, physical issues, physiological issues, and you have no idea what is happening to you. As a Daikini, as I said, I see many men, and I love you all, who are completely into the energy of erectile dysfunction. And I ask them, what do you do? What do you do? And they always tell me pornography, masturbation. And I think it is so strange because they always have a girlfriend or a wife at home. That is the strangest space to me. And ladies, I say, what is going on in your households that you're okay with your man being in his man cave and not touching you? What's going on? Where's your energy lying at? As I talked about before, so many of us are involved and wrapped up in masculine energy as women. We don't understand why our man doesn't want to be near us, because if he's not a homosexual, he's not going to desire to sit in a room with another man. And a lot of us don't understand that. If I don't like the fact that I have a huskier voice. Many women, ethnic women, have huskier, heavier voices. Our voices sound like we're mad when we're not, when we're happy. When we're happy and excited, our voices can sound like we're screaming and kind of going over the top. And I've heard a lot of, men of color, black men, ethnic men, all types of brown men, brown and black men say things like, they can't stand the sound of our voices and all these other things. And they use a lot of different analogies to describe why they don't want to be with the black woman or the ethnic woman or the woman of color. And I don't know many women who don't have a heavier tone when they have melanated skin. But what I've realized is that men are just missing femininity. And so when they hear a softer voice, when they see the flip of a hair, when they have certain things that they believe, see, men have constructs that they believe women are. And as they believe that, they buy into it. So I have a caller here, area code 240-464. You're live with Grown Folks Business.
Don't be giving my number out, girl. I'm sorry.
I don't give your number out, sweetheart. Hey, baby, how you doing? Nobody giving your number out. We just give out the first three so you can know yourself. You won't believe how many people I call their number and they still going, huh? So this is my long-term friend, and I'm so glad he was able to call in, even though I only got 10 minutes to pick his brain. D Money, hit me up with the pornography, because I know a man of your character knows a little bit about porn.
Just a little bit.
He's like, just a little bit. Now listen, have you found yourself in your older age? Is it something that you participate in?
Yes.
It is. Wow.
Well, no, to an extent. Hold on. I don't want to, I don't.
No judgment. No judgment. I'm saying you still can behold it.
My life is dedicated to porn. No. Okay,
right.
So
I know what you mean.
Here's the thing. Now, you know me, I'm a married man.
Yes.
And I want, and most men can identify with this as well. And here's the thing. Most men that are in dedicated relationships watch porn to stay faithful.
Really?
Now I know that sounds.
That is so peculiar. What makes that
but
make you stay faithful?
Because if they feel like, some men feel like if they release it that way, they're not cheating. And as long as they don't have the actual interaction with an actual woman, then it's cool with them. Now, what they don't realize is they are cheating because they're taking away from the actual intimacy between him and her.
Absolutely. Thank you for actually admitting that, because I'm going to tell you, that drives me crazy. I was talking with a brother, and he told me that his wife walked in on him masturbating. And I asked him, why were you masturbating when you have a wife? And he was like, because I like this particular woman. And I just, it was some type of porn woman. I didn't know the name when he mentioned it, but it was a woman in pornography. And he said, I'm attracted to her. So I watched her. But here's the thing that I'm psychologically concerned about. Are you all fantasizing because you're actually looking at a man being with a woman? And that seems psychologically peculiar to me. So do you all somehow trade places with the man?
Here's the thing about that. It depends on the person. Everyone has their own reason as to why they do that. Mm-hmm. So it's not giving away what I do it for.
Right.
But there's many scenarios when it comes to that. I can at least think of 5.
Oh, wow. Listen, I'm going to have you back on the show to give me at least 4 of them. And here's the thing. Like I said, there's no judgment. I appreciate you telling me, because here's the thing. Women and men, our brains are wired completely different. And I think a conversation is needed so that we can understand. It's like Steve Harvey said the other day, when this woman said that she's pissed off that her husband won't stop eating her food that she leaves in the refrigerator. And Steve told her, look, it's man law. It's man law. And I no, did you? And I think that we live in a culture now where women want to chastise men for what is man law. And I'm not certain if pornography is kind of man law.
And that's another show. I swear that's another show, because we can talk for hours about that one. But
Man
let
law.
me, but just for the sake of staying on topic, the thing about, watching porn, it's an escape from reality for some as well.
Right. That's true.
They realize that, they can step into another realm and be in that moment with another person and also have the same sensibility of not actually cheating. Like I said, most people that are in committed relationships, those are the ones who are appreciating porn the most.
He said appreciating. Well, here's the thing. I didn't appreciate it at all. Maybe you can shoot me a text of some sites I could appreciate, but what I saw was literal woman abuse.
Notice what I said. Most men.
Yes. I know. I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to find a woman that will tell me that she appreciates it. But I haven't found a woman yet. In my 3-week episodes, I haven't found a woman yet that would even tell me that she watched it. Like I said, I saw it growing up. Not something that I watched in my adulthood, not something I watched in my relationships or my marriage, but I always knew that my partner was watching it on the slick. And I thought, how terrible is that? Because I'm an amazing, sensually sexual, gorgeous goddess. Who in the world wants to look at porn when they have me next to them?
Well, here's the thing about that. Are you actually doing everything that he wants? So you're doing everything that you want. But are you doing everything that he wants?
Here's the thing: if those requests aren't somewhere on my parameter of hell no, I'm doing it. But some of you brothers, you're into that paraphilia to the point where you start requesting what you see on the videos. I'm not that girl.
Some of it does go a little bit overboard.
Yeah,
I will admit
I'm not that girl.
Now, if you're having realistic expectations, then fine, partake in that. But when it comes to the like for me, here's the level where it goes too far. The BDSM, the S&M, and
for you, because for some people they need that.
Right.
For some people they need that. For you, it's too far.
Most men in committed relationships, for the man, there's a certain level, and for the woman, there's a certain level.
Right.
Most of the times, the men's levels are a little higher than women. What the man has to realize is that, my level is too high for her, and I have to respect the fact that she doesn't want to do that. So
I can look back on certain things because for years, my husband wanted me to have intercourse in the car. And I just thought to myself, I am a grown woman. What in the world? Heck no. I realize now that wasn't really that big of a deal, but I was always frightened that we were going to be, rapped on by the police and taken to jail. And so I would never do it. That's probably a simple request from a married man.
That is awesome.
Right. I was just like, listen, I can't do that. I can't do it. Now I'm pretty much thinking I can probably do it in a car. And so I'm lowering my parameters a little bit and my expectations here. But I want to thank you so much for calling ND. I love you.
As tall as I am, I need a bus.
Yeah, you are tall. And if I catch you on a bus out here in these streets, I'm going to lose it. Because listen, don't everybody need to see what a brother's working with. That's all I'm going to say. And with that being said, I want to thank you for calling Grown Folks Business. Listen, people, this wraps up our segment. Thank you so much, baby. Love you.
Love you too.
I'm wrapping up this 3-week episode on porn. I found it very, very necessary to have this conversation because I am seeing so many clients who are suffering from the effects of porn addiction. And I wanted to open up a conversation. I'm so thankful for the kings that called in tonight. I appreciate you. I appreciate you enlightening us. You even took a little extra judgment off of me. No, Grown Folks Business doesn't judge, but Goddess Sierra has that little bit of ill factor. And actually, these kings calling in really helped me because now I understand their psyche of it. And I wish some brothers had just told me when I was asking. But once again, in America, everyone's having sex, but nobody wants to talk about it. And so you know how we love to talk about it on Grown Folks Business. We'll be back next week. I'm not even certain what I can segue into after this. I really want to talk about all of these artificial intelligence sex toys. I'm telling you, but I feel like I need to order one. I'm watching people that have this behavior online, but you can't really see what's going on. They even have a company that is promoting it to the widow. Like, if you lost your wife, just send us a picture of her and we'll make you a special droid that looks like your wife. And I think that is really crazy. So I might do some more research and we'll talk about that. Anyway, we want to thank you so much for seeing us tonight on Grown Folks Business. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Goddess Sierra. Goddess Earlene wasn't in tonight. You know the deal. She's chasing that paper. And until then, we'll see you next week live on Grown Folks Business. And we're out.
Used to letdowns and heartbreaks, lost in silhouettes of your heartaches. I can show you better, babe. I can show you better, babe. I know you used to letdowns and heartbreaks, lost in silhouettes of your heartaches.